All right, in this training, I'm going to go over how to respond if your prospect says, hey, can you give me a discount or can you give me a cheaper price? This is something that you don't have to do once you learn how to take them out of price or cost-based thinking into results-based thinking. Now, as you really start to commit to mastering this, and this is why you're here, right? This you should hardly ever get. I can tell you in my 18-year sales career, before I started this company, okay, when I was a salesperson like you in the trenches, I rarely got this. And I sold in 4 completely different industries because I knew how to immediately, from the start of that conversation to the end, take them out of price or cost-based thinking where they're only focused on the end result. And now the price or cost doesn't really matter. Okay, they'll pay way more because they feel like you can get them a much better result, okay? So the first thing you can do is do this. Hey, can you give me a cheaper price on this? Well, I mean, it depends. And you must have asked me that for a reason. So you're not gonna answer that. Don't say yes or no. Just say, well, you must have asked me that for a reason though. Yeah, the reason why I asked you was, or I could say this, well, I guess it depends. Now you must have asked me that for a reason. Like what's going on? Notice how my tone gets soft, concerned tone, okay? Let's say they come back and they say, well, we talked with a competitor of yours and they offered it for 8% less or 10% less, okay? Now you know what they mean by they want a cheaper price because they're talking with somebody else. For other people, it could be, they could say, we don't have the money for it, or, we don't have the money till next week. I mean, there's different reasons why they might ask you that question, so you need to find out what's behind them asking that question first before you start to deframe them and reframe them into a new frame, results-based thinking, okay? Let's say that they said, oh, XYZ company offered it for 10% less. Oh, yeah, what specifically did they offer you? Now, why would I want to ask that question in that scenario? Because they might have offered them something different. Maybe it's the same thing that you do, but it has less service options. Or maybe it has the quality of the product's really, really bad. Like they're cheap windows. If you sell home improvement like windows and you know they'll have to replace them in half the time of yours. I mean, you just got to find out what they actually offered them. What specifically did they offer you? Well, I mean, if you really thought about it, what did they offer you? Now, if they come back and say, well, I'm not really sure. Well, if you really thought about it, what did they actually offer you? Now, a lot of times, the reason why I ask that question is you got to realize a lot of your prospects will actually lie to you, okay? Now, why do they lie? Because they don't trust you. And that is an upstream issue you've got to work on from the start of that conversation. There's things you're saying or not asking or how you're using your tone that's triggering them not to trust you. So sometimes prospects will just lie to you and tell you that they found it cheaper somewhere else, but how do you know they did? Okay, so here's a way you can do that, okay? So if I find out what specifically they got offered and they can't really tell me, it's kind of a red flag. Now, if I probe and clarify and they still can't tell me, it's a really red flag, okay? Because you want to make sure that you just don't lower it because they might be making it up, okay? Now, I might come back and say this, okay? They said, oh, they offered us this, they offered that. Then I would say, yeah, I mean, they're a fairly decent company. I mean, it just depends on the results you're looking for. Then you're going to stop. And they're always going to say, well, what do you mean? Yeah, I mean, they're a fairly now, if it's a product or service, I'm gonna say that it's a fairly decent service. It really all depends on like the result you're looking for. And you just stop because I always say, well, what do you mean? And then you say, well, I guess what I'm meaning is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or actually getting XYZ result? And you're going to repeat back the result they said they wanted. Now, notice I said is the cheapest price. I don't say just the price. I say the cheapest, okay? Does cheapest sound like a good thing? So is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or getting XYZ results? See how my tone makes that sound what? Like it's gonna break, like it's gonna be horrible, like it's cheap. Nobody likes something that's cheap. So you use the word is the cheapest, but you can't say, so is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or getting XYZ result? That will not do anything because your tone sounded monotone. Now, let me give you a few industry-specific examples so you can see the frame of this. Yeah, can you give me a price? Well, it really depends. Now, you must have asked me that for a reason. Well, yeah, because of this was it. So is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or actually getting like higher quality leads so you can scale to $12 million a month? Let's say if I'm a marketing agency and the company I'm talking to, they feel like they need better marketing or better lead generation or better branding so they can scale. And they told me they want to scale to $12 million a month. And let's say they're only at $8 million a month. So see what I'm doing? I'm taking them out of the frame of price or cost-based thinking, and I'm starting to reframe them into what? Results-based thinking, a new frame or a new belief system, okay? I want to take them out of price or cost into the end result. I'm just repeating back what they said they wanted, and I'm asking them which one is the most important. Now notice I say the cheapest. So is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or actually getting the right marketing strategy in where you can scale to $12 million a month? I even do this. Even if I'm on the phone, I'm going to do this because it affects my what? My tone, my body language, and my facial expression affect this, your voice, your tone. Now, typically they're going to say, no, I mean, we want the result. I just, most of the time they're going to be like, no, we want the result. And like, well, what's going to put you in the best position to scale to 12 million a month? Like cheap leads that don't convert, or a higher quality lead so you can actually sell more? See how I'm taking them from cheapest leads now, if I'm selling marketing, to the end result, scaling. What's going to put them in the best position? I'm keeping them in that results-based thinking. And then I can come down, because, I mean, we could give you like a cheap price. We could give you like cheap leads. I guess I'm just concerned because how would we be able to dedicate the resources necessary to help you scale to $12 million a month without the funding for us to help you get higher quality leads? See, I'm asking them, how can we get you to what you said you wanted if we don't have the resources necessary to help you do that? Now, this frame would be more for like a marketing agency or something where you're helping them do something to earn more money. It wouldn't make sense for life insurance. We would just reword this. We would tweak this. It wouldn't make sense for solar or like cars or, cybersecurity. We'd have to tweak this a little bit. Yeah, because I mean, we can give you like the cheapest price. I guess I'm just concerned for you, because how would we be able to, and then you repeat back, we just have to tweak it a bit different, okay? How would we be able to dedicate the resources necessary to help you scale to $12 million a month without the funding to do that? That is called, I'm looping there. So now I'm looping and I'm asking them, how can we do this without the funding? It's hard for them to say, yeah, there's a way we can do it without the funding. And then I'm going to come back down to the frame again, because is the 10% off the most important thing for you, or actually scaling to $12 million a month? And say, I'm still taking them out of the price or cost-based frame into results-based frame. Let's say if I sold employee benefits to companies and they asked me for a better deal, the reason why they're talking to me is because they're losing a lot of their top executives to their competitors who are offering them better benefit packages. And now mine can prevent that from happening. Okay, but I find out that they want a better deal. Well, I guess it just depends on the result you want. I guess it really just depends on if you're wanting to retain these executives or not, because is the cheapest price the most important thing to you, or putting in the right benefits package so your top executives don't leave the company? See what I did there? See, now it's forcing them to pick which one. I'm framing them again, okay? Putting them back into that results-based frame, okay? Because we could give you like a cheap plan. I guess my concern for you guys is how would we be able to help you retain your top employees so you can keep growing the business if we put in a cheap plan that they don't even like? Or I could say, because I mean, we could give you a cheap plan like XYZ company was offering you. I guess my concern for you guys would be is, how would you be able to retain your top employees from leaving you to go to these other companies by putting in a cheap plan that they're probably not going to like? See, I'm reframing them again back into results-based frame over price or cost-based thinking. So anyways, hope that helped you. If you have questions about how to get that to work for your industry. Now, I showed you several different industry-specific exams. I showed you the frames of that, so you can just follow that. But if you do have questions, just feel free to text us, okay? I'll give you the number here. It's 480-637-2944. Text us, and either myself or one of our sales trainers will help you out on that. Hope that helped you.